agenda before us. As usual, we're going to start with our guidelines and code of conduct. So the committee agenda is as follows. We will, under new business, review 2 notification of adult use retail cannabis dispensary licenses. One for location at 61 East Kingsbridge Road, the other at 3584 Jerome Avenue. We will then ask if there are representatives from any of the agencies or hospitals listed below. We will allow time for announcements or any ideas on future agenda items or discussion items. And then our next meeting will be February 20th. Talk a little bit about anything that should be on the next agenda and then adjourn. And so how we will run this meeting is as follows. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or ban participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive posters or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. The board's executive committee and or other assigned committee will review repeated offenses and or behavior and ban the offender for an amount of time determined by the committee. If an in-person outburst or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authority shall be summoned. The way we will run the meeting is as follows. Everyone besides the speaker or presenter will remain silent throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, the chair will inquire if committee members have questions. We will review the agenda items. If there is a matter that we are voting on and there is quorum, we will vote. And then that will become part of future business for the board. So going back to questions, committee members will signify they have questions by raising their hand when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We'll stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair under new business or addressed at the next meeting, provided that there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Again, following the questions, discussions, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussion after each presentation agenda item and will conclude with a decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. And so moving on to attendance, Michelle Avila is here. Alfred Grant. Here. Helene Wilson is absent. Emmanuel Asamoah. Chad Royer is absent. Toby Buford is absent. Christiana Robles here. And Mamadou Sawane. And so unfortunately, we do not have quorum tonight. So going into new business, as I said, we have 2 applications for adult use retail cannabis dispensary licenses in our community board. One is located at 61 East Kingsbridge Road. The other would be, and I should say would be located at 3584 Jerome Avenue. So about an hour ago, we held a public hearing. We had the applicants here available for questions. I would be happy to do a quick summary of some of the questions and what they shared. And I also want to turn the committee's attention to the cannabis adult use retail dispensary license packet. This packet has all of the information that is pertinent to cannabis license applications and the community board's role. So I just want to highlight for the purposes of our discussion. A reminder. So this would be the second page, the back of the second page. So what is the role of community boards in the process to approve or deny a cannabis license? Per cannabis law, community boards and municipalities are allowed the opportunity to express an opinion on whether they support the Cannabis Control Board's approval of a retail dispensary, a micro business, or an Article 4 registered organization with dispensing license. The municipality opinion, our opinion, will become part of the record upon which the Cannabis Control Board shall grant or deny an application for a cannabis license. Community boards do not have a role in other cannabis license types like nurseries, cultivators, processors, or distributors. And then where in the process do we fit in? People or businesses who apply for a retail dispensary or on-site consumption need to submit a notification that their proposed location premises is within the boundary of the municipality prior to filing the application. The community board gives an opinion which becomes part of the record that the Cannabis Control Board reviews, and they are the authority that decides whether they grant or deny an application for a cannabis license. And there are some very strict timeframes to do this. So once we receive the notice, we have approximately 30 days to respond or provide an opinion, and we can ask for an extension for 30 more days. So a total of 60 days. Let's see. So just to remind the committee about our process, once an applicant submits a notice of municipality to the community board, they're asked to complete a questionnaire. We'll review the application. For initial applications, we will hold a public hearing to enable community member input. Applicants will be invited to present at the meeting or public hearing, which we just had. The Health and Human Services Committee will then vote on a single application by putting a motion on the floor. If the committee votes unfavorably, the district manager will send a letter of objection to the Office of Cannabis Management. If the committee votes favorably, the motion goes to a vote to the executive committee. If the executive committee votes in favor of the motion, it then goes to the general board for a full vote. If the motion clears the general board, the district manager will send a letter in favor of the application to the Office of Cannabis Management. And then for the Q&A, what can CB7 review? Location, hours of operation. So Bronx Community Board 7 can comment on hours of operation. In New York City, cannabis establishments cannot operate between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. unless they have CB7's written permission to do so. However, CB7 cannot restrict hours of operation to be less than 70 hours a week. So that is that. Any questions? So, and then because we don't have quorum, we will not be able to vote on a motion. We will only be able to discuss. That means that this will go to the executive committee for a vote. And I just want to note for the committee that because of the time sensitive nature, so 30 days and 60 days, this is the only time frame that we have to do this. If we would put this up for a vote at next month's committee meeting, then we miss the window and our opinion does not become part of the record. So for the purpose of tonight's meeting, I'd like to focus on discussion. I will recap the committee's sentiments to the executive committee meeting on Thursday, and I also invite you as members, if you have a strong opinion and want to be at that meeting, please attend the executive committee meeting so that the executive committee can also hear from you on your thoughts and how you consider whether you would want to support the proposed location or not. Carla, am I missing anything?
No, you got it.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Just to a reminder, that the location of these businesses have to be a distance from the schools.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alfred, for picking that up. Okay. So just opening my computer. So yes, and Alfred. So the zoning restrictions. So for a school cannot be on the same road and within 500 feet of a building and its grounds occupied exclusively as a school. For a house of worship, it cannot be within 200 feet of a building occupied exclusively as a house of worship. In a town, city, or village with a population of over 20,000 cannot be within 1,000 feet of another retail dispensary, micro business retail location, or ROD retail co-location. In a town, city, or village with a population of less than 20,000 cannot be within 2,000 feet of another retail dispensary, micro business, or retail location. And so just, this is a good question, Alfred. So they define public youth facility also means a location or structure owned by government or government subdivision or agency that is accessible to the public, where the primary purpose is to provide recreational opportunities or services to children or adolescents of whom the primary population is reasonably expected to be 17 years of age or younger. The measurement will be taken from the center of the nearest entrance of the premises licensed and operating as a retail dispensary, on-site consumption, micro business, or ROD. The center of the nearest entrance of the nearest building of such public use facility. If no entrance exists, the nearest structure of such public use facility. If no structure exists, the nearest point of the grounds of the public use facility's legally defined property boundary as registered in a county clerk's office. If no clear delineation of the grounds exists, the nearest point of equipment, the primary purpose of which is reasonably expected to be used by children 17 years of age or younger. So I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to recap what the applicants shared and then some of the analysis that as a board, we have to do our due diligence, some of the analysis that we shared. So some of the questions, so both applicants introduced themselves. We had someone from the proposed location of 61 East Kingsbridge Road and someone from the proposed location on 3584 Jerome Avenue. Both members stated that they had businesses or ties to the community. They were interested in not only bringing their business to the community, but also getting in this market, hoping that the legalization and retail distribution of this will help with some of the illegal cannabis shops that are currently in existence right now and operating. So that was their opening statement. So we had a question from the public that said, are you going to test the product for things like fentanyl? One of the applicants explained that New York State has very strict guidelines on where you're sourcing your product from. So that product would be tested. So there would presumably not be any fentanyl involved because it's coming directly from the grower, which would minimize other bad actors touching it and involving fentanyl. There is another question, would you be willing to put a stamp that says that it's fentanyl free? They answered that, again, that this is coming from a source that has to be under a lot of regulation, but that if that is something that the community board and the community really wants, they can include it in some of their public materials. We had a question about whether they would unionize the labor force. One of the applicants said that he is part of a larger association of partners, so he would have to go back to his partners to answer something like that. Couldn't answer on the spot. So there was another question, what drew you to choose that specific location? One applicant said they already have a business there and it's in proximity to other of their businesses. The other applicant said that the location meets the requirements of proximity to house of worship and schools. There was a follow-up question on what tools do they use to confirm the distance between a house of worship and a school. One of them says there's 64 Square, which is either an app or a tool, an online tool, and the other received a consultation from a property lawyer. And an application that's being used by brokers and also the Office of Cannabis Management. Any questions?
Yes. We also asked because he mentioned something about like justice before, so what were their takes on?
So he, one of the applicants talked about the intention behind the legislation and opening up the business was to really center people that have been impacted by the justice system and selling marijuana. And so that it would be kind of a part of their business model to do that.
Pardon?
Sorry?
A partner.
No, so to
As
employ.
it's being sarcastic, because if it is so that the individual's majority illegally selling is some jail time or at some sort of, and now they seem to be getting the pass to go on and get legal.
So the context that they were talking about was that they would work with those individuals to kind of employ them and bring them in. So the state is giving some sort of preference to individuals that have had convictions, and they're the ones that have like the first pass, or a lot of those folks have the first pass at even applying for these licenses. But what this gentleman was referring to, he said that that's something that he hopes that his business will do, is work with individuals that have been involved with the justice system over marijuana, only marijuana, not other offenses, and bring them into this kind of retail space to do something that they love. When we asked like what specific plans they have, they said that they couldn't answer. That was part of someone else's responsibility within their company, but that they would be happy to come back to talk about that. So Alfred, like, how would you do that within our community? Are you gonna do like a job hiring fair? You know, how would you know if someone was impacted by the justice system for a marijuana related conviction? That was something that we had asked, and they didn't have those details available. Did I miss anything?
No, you mentioned everything. You also have a question in the from the public online.
So that was it.
From the public, or they requested that if they were gonna label or name anything should be named after something from our street, like the armory or
That's something that's stationed, but one of the questions actually came that I would have asked is that is it legal for the cannabis retail dispensary to be mobile? You know how individuals have their food carts and vans and things like that, because that right there will override the jurisdiction of space opposed to this and to that.
We can check into that, Alfred, but from my understanding, with everything that the Office of Cannabis Management put out, it doesn't sound like there's an option to be mobile, because you have to have a location that you can consider how far it is from these places. So that's my read on it. Carla, I don't know if you have a different interpretation.
It's different kind of licenses. This one is specific to retail to actually open a dispensary. So it's going to be set.
In a stationary location.
Yes, at a location. They can't, they cannot even advertise it on their screen. So if you look in your packet, there's an example. Community Board 6 actually has a dispensary already open. And it's all, they cannot advertise. They cannot even have a cannabis leaf on the outside. Absolutely nothing. No lights, nothing shiny and sparkly, no cartoons. It has to look as bare as possible. And then they all have to have this decal that you can scan and actually see them on the list. I do know that some businesses have deliveries. That would be a question to ask. They wouldn't be mobile, but if someone orders online, I wonder if that counts. We can definitely follow up on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I asked him just about, I asked if they had experience of running that type of business in the past anywhere else. Both of them, I think, said that they had experience of running a liquor license, and one of them talked about, I suppose, making that process better, rather than having problems with people buying liquor on the street or something like that, like making it more regulated is what I understood he was getting at. And then the other gentleman from Jupiter, I think he referred to problems with, I asked what problems they would have encountered in the past that, any other businesses may have run. They did talk about the issue of cash and cash in the context of this type of business. And they talked about payment process, electronic payment processes, and how that's regulated from the federal level. And so they're looking at that to see how that can work better rather than having cash in the premises, because that would create security issues.
And for the most part, they do have security. Like the dispensary in CV6 has a security person at the door.
When it's something like this, security it should be a key thing, because it's one thing when you're talking about it and you're hearing about it, but it's another thing when you walk through the neighborhood and you see it right there, and next thing you know, you see that it's closed, and then, like, say for instance, if you go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, you see the lights on and people going in, that particular place is not legal, and you call, and next thing you know, lights are out, but there's no real enforcement yet.
No, so I think what's happening is that there's a lot of illegal establishments, and then yes, you can report them, but there are protocols in place. So like a lot of steps that someone has to follow in order to close an establishment. So they are being closed, but it's not at the rate as you are reporting. So in case you're not seeing the results right away, but I have seen some businesses already closing, especially on the Grand Concourse. There were many from CB5. Once you start getting to CB4, CB5, and you start coming up, especially around Fordham, there were a lot of businesses that were open that they have the gates down.
Yeah.
So they are closing them, but it's not as quick as they're popping up. So you always, continue to report them, send them to us. We can elevate them to our elected officials. And so everyone is applying pressure from all different directions, and that's how the places are getting closed.
So I'd like to start the discussion on the first application, which is the one located at 61 East Kingsbridge Road. So as I said, both applicants said that they were in compliance with the zoning restrictions. However, as part of the committee's and the board's due diligence, we also Google mapped this and try to approximate, how far things would be. So for the one that's, again, the first one, 61 East Kingsbridge Road, this dot right here shows the proposed location. And then about a block over and then to the left, there's PS 246 Post Center. So it's about 238 feet from the location to the corner of the building grounds. So wanted to flag that for the committee. I think that this is a gray area because OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, as I read, they're measuring it from the entrance to the entrance. So the entrance is on the grand concourse. So it could be that it's 500 feet from entrance to entrance. As a community and as a community board, we could consider this as school grounds. So if you're thinking about it as school grounds, it's 238 feet away from a school building. So just wanted to present that to the committee and get folks' thoughts and feedback on that.
Yes, I also want to mention that they said, entrances to the grounds of the building. If you measure the distance from the location to the school entrance on the Grand Concourse, it is over 500 feet. The school has, however, an entrance on Creston Avenue. It is an entrance. I'm not sure if it's opened, but it is the entrance to the playground. Yes,
It is.
that was the, and they are already facing issues with public drug use.
So could it give the community a trusted site to have somewhere to go? For them to come because they're already facing.
I will say as a community member, I too think that the illegal cannabis shops are out of control, and it's very scary to hear that they're selling mold and fentanyl and that they're marketing to younger people. What is one tool? We need enforcement, we need many tools. One tool that I think is going to alleviate some of this is having a safe place to buy, a trusted place. So as a community member, I am open to this. I do, however, have reservations about what a school grounds actually is. And for me, a school grounds is a school grounds because you're having youth that come out after pickup or in the morning drop off. And so if you're just looking at the entrance, then you're not fully thinking about all of the activity that children and parents have to go through in order to be able to get to school. And that's a big concern on my end. I also agree with Carla and Christiana. For this location in particular, we just attended a general board meeting where the principal and the faculty talked about heavy drug use in the school premises. And so that would be concerning for me. And at a first pass, I don't think that this is an appropriate location based on that criteria.
What is this, elementary school or junior high school?
Elementary.
Talk about the rent.
So we're gonna look at these as two separate. So,
Yeah.
So I agree. Because that's what
And Emmanuel, no, you need to have 5. You have 8 members now. Almost, it's so close.
Emmanuel, thanks for joining us. We're reviewing the applicants for retail cannabis dispensary. We have 2 applicants. The first one, 61 East Kingsbridge Road.
Cafe?
Jupiter Cafe. Yes. And so we had them here during the public hearing portion, and they explained that they live in the community or have businesses in the community. They're interested in opening up this business, obviously to bring economic growth here, but also in hopes that we can make some of the cannabis consumption safer, so that a lot of what's happening illegally, including the cannabis shops and, you know, folks, just doing all other sorts of drugs, you know, we can clean some of that up. So, they were here for quite a bit. We're now talking about, so as a community board, we're able to give a recommendation on whether we would be in favor of this location or not. And the main thing that we take into consideration is the location. So it has to be, technically 500 feet away from a school, 200 feet away from a house of worship. And so for Jupiter Cafe, for 61 East Kingsbridge Road, what we were saying is that, even though it from entrance to entrance is 500 feet, but, if you look from the corner of the school, facility, the school grounds, which is a big school, it's not, it's 238 feet. So, we were just saying, you know, we want to be supportive of small businesses and business owners and ushering in something that hopefully will bring something positive for our community, but we also want to balance that with quality of life, and making sure that we're being mindful of parents and young people. And so, Emmanuel, we will not be able to vote on it today because we don't have quorum. But, I would like to take your feedback and perspective to the executive committee on Thursday, where they will vote on it, we will vote on it. And so if committee members want to come to that meeting as well to give their, express their opinion or talk about how they would have voted, I invite you to do that. So today, what we're just doing is getting the committee's general consensus, and then I will take that to the meeting on Thursday. Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns for the first applicant, 61 East Kingsbridge Road?
Question actually, Michelle and I forgot to ask the gentleman who was here, but do both applicants have to submit a design of the storefront to ensure that it is in compliance with the kind of plain, you know, example that we see here? A lot of them aren't very actually, you know, they appeal to kids with all the lights and everything. Yeah, do that.
I'm sure they do to the Office of Cannabis Management once it has moved on and they have waiting all the options. I'm sure their processing is a little bit more thorough than.
And, Sheila, the Office of Cannabis Management also said that they do inspections. So, or like an initial site inspection, so I'm sure that they would at some point verify that. Yeah, that's the information that we got, but I will note your question, and the next time we have a meeting with the Office of Cannabis Management, I will ask. Any other comments?
With the Jupiter Cafe, are we overlooking the distance that you just speak about? Meaning that is far below the parking lot.
So, and committee members chime in, as a community member, I was saying that for me, that matters, right? So this was a school that we just visited for the general board meeting, where the principal and the staff said that they were having a lot of problems with people using drugs right outside the doors and the entrances, and it was unsafe. So, you know, that coupled with the school grounds, they're big grounds, we were just there. There's an entrance on Creston. We don't know if it's open, but it's still a school entrance, and that would still be under 500 feet. So I think the general consensus is that we would not be in support of this because of those reasons. Anything else before we move on to the second? Just pull this up.
But someone has their hand up in public, so. Are you,
Is it pertaining this application?
believe so, then.
Yes, you can
Okay.
take it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to briefly recover what I spoke about in the public hearing. I was for both applications. I think legalization is amazing, especially if they're willing to unionize, especially if there's a merchants association tied behind them. I asked if they could be more mindful with the naming of products, similar to like nail polishes or makeup palettes. Be a little bit more educational and informative instead of just like Sour D or Reggie or Blue Dream. Just like I think there's an opportunity to be way more community minded with that, and they should do that. With that map you just had up, I believe it's almost right outside of St. James and then right next to Poe Park where there's active needle use and a needle exchange. I think it's kind of weird that the board would allow a needle exchange but won't allow a legalized cannabis spot. Same for under the next application under the train. There's besides the cemetery and then the waterworks, there's not really much over there. I think that that is a good location, especially with the school. That's a great opportunity to teach those kids what is legalized and proper consumption, similar to those ads for the PSA, like drink over 21, be responsible. And that school had issue with the drug use, the needles, the people passed out nodding off while the students were going. With legalization, there's a whole bunch of regulation. So with the naming, mindful. When I asked them, they said that their name was Jupiter. I kind of got like I'm a Sailor Moon fan, so when you say Jupiter, I automatically think of spaced and zoned out. So I know with the laws that there's certain regulations about naming. They can't have like certain symbols or certain like symbology behind certain things. So I kind of found space as a a little zoned out, kind of weird. So especially with the Armory, St. James, there's so much history there. It's more like a nail polish. You wouldn't really. You just more like yeah, educational. Thank you so much, guys. But I am here for both applications. Thank you so much.
Thank you, AJ. Christina, go ahead.
So St. James Park also has a recreational center. I'm not sure if it's up and running. But if we wanna look at the distance going down towards St. James Park, we could also consider that, and it'll probably eliminate it going in that direction.
And thank you, AJ. Any other comments for 61 East Kingsbridge? Okay. So moving on to 3584, Jerome Avenue. So it meets the distance requirement for the school. Yes, so this is here. This is where the proposed location would be, right by Jerome Avenue. And the nearest school is Bronx Dance Academy School. So that would be 758 feet. Carla, I do see Morning Glory Apostolic Ministry in fairly close proximity. Could you do a quick search?
Yeah, let me see here.
The other flag that folks, upon doing this review, our folks wanted to do, that this is also the same location as Arms Acres, which is an organization that provides inpatient and outpatient alcohol and substance abuse treatment facilities and services. So just a note. Comments, questions, concerns? Carla's seeing how far it is from Morning Glory.
Well, it's 116 feet from,
Morning Glory,
yeah.
and the requirement.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like, is it the corner, is as soon as the building starts, or is it the entrance and then?
And the requirement for houses of worship is
It's
200
200 feet.
Any comments, thoughts? And Carla, it's where the little bubble is, right?
Yes.
So it would be here. And yeah, it would be here, and then Morning Glory is here, the nearest school is here. This is Jerome Avenue. On that block, there's Bangla Town Supermarket. And then a Family Dollar on the other side. You're in favor. Alfred?
I'm not sure, I think it's the lens from the church.
Yes, so from the church, Carla said
Mhm. It's less than 200, but let me see if they have an entrance on the other side.
and also if folks wanna pull it up on their phones, the Google map. can do that too, if it helps. to see
Okay.
to the neighborhood.
So if you're looking at it from the entrance on Jerome Avenue, it is 281 feet. So it is over 200, it is over 200 feet from the faith-based organization that's there.
And these individuals who are looking for these licenses, they're not established yet, they're not in the location yet, right? Or are they there, or are they trying to maintain and get a license?
One of them had a lease, I believe the one at 61 East Kingsbridge Road has a lease, but they were using it for a different purpose.
Mhm.
And then the other one, the one for 3584, I believe they said that they already own a business there. They have, they own,
In,
yeah, he owns businesses in the area. So we asked like, what was their motivation to choose those locations? And the 3584 said he has other businesses in the area, in the immediate area. So, just, actually, I can do this.
In other words, he has connection.
Business.
businesses in the area.
That's what they call it. His business.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you.
Jerome.
Nope, this is, so. This is for Rome. This is for Rome. And where this green awning is, that's 3584. So next to it is a parking garage, a tire store, then there's a Family Dollar. And then I'm on the next intersection, that's where the Caridad is. So that's what's on the list. Then across the street, oh, this is the Open Arms,
The Arms Acre.
Arms Acre. So this is the substance and alcohol abuse facility that we referenced. Right here. Like, yeah, there's.
What's that with the green? What's that? That's the wall?
No, that's nothing. That's open space. No, that's no building space, but I think, yeah, if you keep going down, it is the reservoir, the Con Ed
So
facility.
we're talking about North Bronx.
Yeah.
From here.
Yes.
Cause that looks like. Near where I'm at, is that near Montefiore?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes,
North Central?
Yes,
Further.
Further. Yeah.
It's more discreet.
That area is like dead,
Yes.
yes.
because I live on Tracy, in Tracy Towers.
Yeah, all right, so going down towards.
Right, so I
Further
mean,
down.
that facility, it used to be big.
Mhm.
And so therefore, it's a wonder, because they have, Montefiore has a lot of drug-free programs there. And they're trying to open up to sell marijuana in those areas.
They did not say that they're affiliated with Montefiore, so, yeah.
Well, you know, the thing about Erie, because right across the street from there used to be Banks. It's a mental institution. It was. Banks closed down, now they turn it into a 200-bed homeless shelter. So, I mean, they want to open up business.
Yeah, so this red one is the proposed location, and then this. Sorry, blue, red is the proposed location, and then this one's Arms Acres, so they would be across the street.
And you know, that area where the green fences, that is part of the Van Cortlandt Park, and people party there every summer. Party.
And
Yeah,
let's,
but the party area is.
It's further down,
On Gun
yeah.
Hill Road.
right,
Yeah.
right. This looks like it's gonna be new
This is like
construction.
212.
Yeah.
212,
Yep.
yeah. And the party, that's why I actually was on the opposite side to make sure the park wasn't on the opposite side.
Yep. Um. So this is the building. Oh, wait, Carla, it says Arms Acres is on the other side of the building too.
Right. I thought it was at the same location. Almost.
Yeah,
It's,
I thought it was across the street,
no, it's in the same
same building.
same building, yes.
So the entrance presumably would be here on Jerome for the cannabis shop,
Mhm.
and then the entrance to Arms Acres
It's on 213.
is on 230.
Well, the thing with applications too is, so OCM is, let's say, if someone does get granted an application, they have a year to secure the space.
Like the lease.
Yes. So,
'Cause you
If-
can't,
mhm,
you can't get a lease before you know if you're gonna get
mhm.
the license, right? So they're, as long as they have something in writing, then they can submit that. And then once they get their license, their provisional license, then they have up to 12 months to get like an actual physical lease.
Mhm.
And then the church is over here. Just a little bit down, 213. So this is the building. This is this, open Arms Acres entrance. And then this is the church over here.
I'm still in favor.
In favor.
I'm gonna do a trust this. And I'll do it.
Any other feedback from the committee?
No, what I noticed also, they have, Montefiore has the methadone program.
Has a lot of control, there, a lot of control
Yeah.
things going on in this area, so it would be the perfect spot to be for.
for the sake of keeping this meeting on the briefer side, I am happy to report back that the committee was split or mixed and that we had a committee member that voiced strong support and other committee members that we're not, we had reservation. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I am gonna make the notes of the armed speakers, the church. And then like the other businesses that it does look like a clearer area, so. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns about these applications? Okay,
You have a hand up online.
go ahead.
Hold on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. For this location, I'm just gonna bring up unionization once again, because if they don't agree to it, maybe the next applicant will. We don't want to limit the community on like a first come, first served mentality. But I think with this location, with the Yankee games and the amount of parking and people that come to use that train station, they're gonna make so much money. That area is dead, except when there's a Yankee game, except when all those cars from there all the way up down to basically the highway, all around the cemetery get parked. People are gonna get their weed and go to the train, go down to the Yankee game, myself included. But yeah, I do agree that this is a good spot for it. I just think that we should be a little bit more mindful with the unionization, because they're going to be making so much money there, right in between Marshalloo Fort Train and Woodlawn Fort Train, right there by access to Yonkers. We're going to get all that tax dollars. I think like more see it as a symbol of economic development, where it's going to be way more money and good union paying jobs that our local hiring, our people should get instead of other people coming in and scooping up all this money basically at our whims. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, AJ. Okay, with that, we'll close discussion on this part of the agenda. Just going to ask, I don't see any, but are there any representatives from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene? Any representatives from Montefiore? Any representatives from North Central?
But since I'm from North Central, normally I would suggest to Alfredo Jones, who is the deputy administrator, but normally he likes to get any feedback or whatever. But one of the things that we're doing in a positive sense is that since Rikers Island situation has been closed down for a while, because that was supposed to be coming to North Central, they have opened the space for employees to have it as a lunchroom. But as you know, that they have wanted to do work around the building, so it's a major thing of shifting North Central for community health.
Thank you, Alfred. Today was.
And forgot to say, because it's in I think it's in maybe the Norwood News or whatever, that the expansion of the behavioral health unit has expanded to 12 days. So there's more and more individuals who will be coming to have mental problems, will be coming to North Central.
We should probably connect because I actually am the project director for the Julie Ford CCDAC, which is our behavioral health clinic.
I'm a union rep for the chapter chair for Behavior Health Association. So they are filling them in, and you know, the patients are coming to the brand new unit too.
I'm really happy also to put in touch with Alfredo and some of the North Central reps. They're fantastic. I mean, we're lucky to have Alfred, and they're usually very good about attending meetings as well. So I think today was a bad weather day. Anyone from Department for the Aging? Anyone from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs? So our next meeting is on February 20th. Any topics or discussion items that folks would like to have on the agenda?
know, maybe it's far-fetched, but because of, this immigration problem that we're having throughout California to the Middle City. And it seems that there is room, or they're saying that from the school system, they will be bringing individuals into the communities, finding housing for them or whatever, and healthcare, because that would be a major thing that they would need to have healthcare. And since we are moving into the age, back into the age of being alert for the flu and cannabis, COVID-19, I almost call it COVID-20, because this is the new one and people are not sure. We're in the very beginning of winter time now. The seasons have shifted and most people don't realize that the worst has not come yet. So these things are to be alerted that there may be individuals who might have to come in and get these tests, because all the employees, we can get them. They used to say we couldn't get them. They have to go to our home provider, but now they're opening the flu vaccine and shots will be given to employees. Yes.
I will check, yes, we can check in with, the Office of Health and Mental Hygiene. I think they're running the HERP programs, which I don't know what the, acronym stand for, but it's, like the command center where they go to for the coordination of services, so they can sign them up for insurance. Also, the newcomers or asylum seekers, migrants, all of the terminology that's being used right now. So they go to these centers and it's supposed to be a one-stop shop where you can connect with city services. So we can ask if the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene can come and talk about that or send us some information about that. And we could also ask North Central and Montefiore what they are doing to address kind of population health with so many incoming. So.
I can share that the mayor's office started sharing data bits on asylum seekers, so I can read. So from the mayor's office, aggregate data on asylum seekers numbers will be provided to the community boards. There is no current breakdown by borough or community board. As of January 11, 2024, the city has 68,000 migrants in its care. As of January 7, 2024, and since spring 2022, over 168,500 asylum seekers have come through the city intake system. The city has opened 216 sites, including 18 humanitarian relief centers. Please note, this is not the total number of asylum seekers in New York City, as it does not include people who are staying with family, friends, networks here after being connected. So that will be an update that I'm not sure how often they will be sharing these aggregate numbers, but they will be sharing them with the community board, and at some point they'll be shared with you so you can share with everyone.
Okay. If there is nothing else for a future agenda, I would call a motion.
Oh, you have a hand up.
Oh, okay, yes,
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you guys for having the meetings on Zoom during a winter advisory. I understand there was a 30-day notice where if the board did not hold a public hearing, you guys would have like basically have no say whatsoever. I think it shows like a proactive approach to handling this and letting the public see what's going on. I just want to say thank you so much. I personally would not have been able to come with the snow, and it's a great way to have a share of the conversation for the district residents that did not come or have any idea what's going on. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, AJ.
Oh, you have another hand up. Hold on, okay? It's on fire, hold on. Okay.
Good evening. I joined very late. I have difficulty when you speak to hear, especially the gentleman. He's far away from the mic. Impossible to hear what he's saying. I think all of you should have a mic so we can understand what is your point. I'm sorry to be saying that. So I didn't understand what it is saying, but my point is we need to hear what is their point of view. At one point, I don't know if it's correct that I can call is sanitation, the cleanliness of the streets. I would like to see if you can bring this issue because it's a nightmare. I'm sorry to say but this borough is neglected completely about the collection of the garbage. Therefore, rats and serious problem on, I think it's 198 on Decatur Avenue. The problem over there, the city negligently, they put this on the stairs for I think for saving a couple of dollars. They make a narrow stairs, and so the other part of the stairs they leave for beautiful place for dumping. Now there's this beautiful collection for rats and everything like that. Since this create this environment at the corner of Decatur and 198 above on the ramp. There is another beautiful place that was created for the city, and people they put garbage and they keep putting garbage on garbage, and it's unacceptable this situation. And
Yes.
also,
Marco, thank you so much. So this is the wrong committee, but if you can please include your phone number and email address in the chat, and I will be able to follow up on all the different locations that you're mentioning.
hey, let me see what do I find. Oh, the chat's right here. You want
Yeah.
to have from me my name?
Yes, and your phone number or email address, so I can follow up, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
And we do, of course, understand your comments around the microphone usage. Unfortunately, we do not have the technology from the city to hold meetings remotely, so we are improvising, as the gentleman before you said, because we knew that this was a very important meeting and also that there's severe weather outside, so we wanted to make it accessible. I want to thank Carla and Stephen for making this Zoom meeting possible as well. They really supported this effort. And I want to thank the committee members, members of the public, our guests for making it out tonight. I know it was a really bad weather day. So thank you so much. Your commitment to the community really stands strong. So thank you. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.